Good morning and welcome in to the program and to the tub of joy, where we will have joy all morning long together as we save the nation from disinformation with high quality, fact-based, healthy, pro-democracy information. Sorry, I sounded a little bit like our old pal the D-Man there for a second. Good morning, Madison. Welcome into the space. We are going to have a great time today, aren't we? In the face of fascism, we say no. That's right. So here we go. Meat Money. Dara is in the house. Meat money. Meat money. Let the meat be meat. Slam. Wait, okay, here we go. Carve. Go the carve. The butcher. Let the meat be meat. That's because Dara is a butcher. And you know, my friend Jeff is a butcher. He was a butcher here at Dixon's in New York City. It's because I have a trip this weekend. Who has a trip this weekend? Madison. Well, Madison, we hope that you are in great shape for your trip this weekend. We hope that you I truly believe that if we think about where the location of the virus or whatever's plaguing us in the body is, that we can direct our body energy to it. I truly do believe that. So sometimes when I get sick, I like to close my eyes and I like to think about all my little cells. And I say to my little cells, I say, you're strong. You're powerful. Just like I open my eyes and I say to all of the adherents of the Mega Tub of Joy, you're strong and you're powerful today as we take on fascism, just as we do every single day here. And what a group and crew to do it with. And so I'm so grateful for you. And how can you build this crew and this group and tell other people? And we hope that you don't have the croup. Is croup an illness, Madison? Isn't that like a baby illness, croup? Who knows? I'll tell you what's not a baby illness, poop. They do it all the time. It's normal. Don't be worried. If you have a baby at home and it is just constantly, it seems like a poop-producing machine, it's functioning properly. Your baby is functioning properly if it is constantly pooping. Jeff Robbins is wondering what the hell's going on. So welcome in, Jeff, if you're still here. And let's all ask Substack to improve the way that it works so that we can see who's in here. Sinus garbage. Well, maybe you want to use a neti pot. I just rinsed my sinuses this morning. You know, Rev Deuce couldn't smell or taste for about 10 years, and he had 3 sinus surgeries. But enough about me. Let's read the Daily Dose and then start to read the news with Deuce. That is what it's called on Substack, after all. Thank you for all the hearts. So here we go. This is how we prepare for the day as adherents to the secular religion that this is based upon, which is the Mega Church of Joy, where we seek human connection in the face of an information ecosystem designed to divide us. That seems succinct. People could understand that. So we say the Daily Dose now, for Todd so hated the world that he made sure to fuck us all up and keep everyone from achieving their dreams. Yes, and self, today I endeavor to be a better teammate than yesterday. I vow to keep it simple, to listen better, commit harder, and to give more expertly. It is my joyous burden to make those around me appear as rock stars and to support the ideas of others. I will move past obstructions, drop insecurities, and put trust in myself and others. I will attempt to emotionally connect with whomever I meet. That's the most important part after all, isn't it? I say this in the spirit of best intentions, yes, and. I have to rinse my nostrils with something called budesonide, which is a topical steroid that is used in inhalers. So that's my good luck every single day. Now we want to start the program with a reminder that you can always go and read the articles that are existing there for all of us on publicenlightenment.com. Publicenlightenment.com. We're going to start writing more articles. That's the tagline. Publicenlightenment.com. We're going to start writing more articles. And that's what the people want. They want more articles. What's our most recent article? May 1st? Okay. Let's get with the program, Tiger. Now, let's go and read the friggin' news, okay? There's a lot going on. I don't know if you knew this. There's a lot going on. Of course, we want to remind people of one thing to do on Reddit. Reddit, one thing to do. I'm going to drop that in the chat. I don't know. Should I keep dropping things in the Public Enlightenment chat? It looks gross on Substack. It looks gross, and I don't know. Is anybody using it? Can you access it by just looking at what's on the screen on our live stream? I don't know. You tell me. In the meantime, let's get into the friggin' news. I don't know if we saw this yesterday. One piece of disinformation that's out there that Rev Deuce would like to push back on right away. One piece of disinformation that's out there that Rev Deuce would like to push back on right away. And, of course, call into the program if you have a piece of news or information that you'd like us to go deeper on and understand. Because we have the resources, we have the tools, we have the time, we have the temerity, and we have the total support of everyone in the Tub of Joy. But one of the things that they are saying about why they fired the librarian of the National, you guys got it, Archives, probably. Our national librarian was fired because they were putting, woke literature, quote unquote woke. We don't like to use that term. It doesn't mean anything except as a signifier and a PR. It is a PR term for the right-wing attack on all of our minds. But so literally every book that gets published is sent to the National Library of Congress, because that's how it works for I think copyright and stuff like that. And so, first of all, I don't think minors go, it's not a library you go and check books out of. And so that was just one ridiculous propaganda point that they were pushing, was this non-reality that the Library of Congress is a normal library where you might go and a child might get a book out and then become gay. At the end of the day, this is the dumb thing that they are saying, right? They are saying that if children take out certain books, books make you gay. That's basically what they're saying. And so that is so dumb, and it is so offensive, and it is so ignorant. And so we need to push back on that. At the end of the day, MAGA friends and loved ones and neighbors, when they are telling you that sexual materials, it's not sexual materials. It's just a reality about the world that you do not like, that gay people have to exist. You don't like it, and because gay people were attacked and maligned for so long and still are, right, that's one thing that we have to explain sometimes to our MAGA loved ones and friends and neighbors, is that why do we have to talk about the queer community? Why do we have to talk about different races? Well, because the people who represent you are following a long tradition of attacking and undermining the rights of those people. And so until such a time, we want that to be the case as well, but until such a time as everyone is treated equal in this world. Jason, because of the delay, we do not know in Substack what you are saying, say what to. So we invite you, Jason, to help out by going and following on Twitch. We also want to thank, we got a couple donations yesterday. I believe I got one from Knee Blockable, and we got one from Kilala Kitty. And so we're so grateful, maybe that was 2 days ago, for any of the donations and any of the, I'm always trying to rhyme, but I don't have a rhyme for that. So what Rev Deuce did today is Rev Deuce went through and just retweeted a bunch of stuff on Blue Sky. The thinking being, and by the way, hello, Palatos? Palatos, that sounds like a Greek name. Now, what Rev Deuce did was he wants to make Blue Sky happen. And so we're on Blue Sky here, and you can take a look here. And I just reposted these things, and this is how we're going to read the news with Deuce today. There's probably some other stuff in the spreadsheet. But anyway, here we go. This is New York Times PitchBot. I'm just going to hip you to stuff that you can also follow today to become a better and smarter person in this world. Please don't let me forget to share the Gil Duran stuff with you guys. I'll probably forget. So this is New York Times PitchBot, and if you want to be on the cutting edge of media criticism, you would follow New York Times PitchBot, because what they do is they are snarky as hell about our mainstream media, and it is satire about the legacy institutions that fail democracy as much as they uplift democracy. You know, the journalists are democracy's immune system, but the owners and the narrative makers and the agenda setters at the top of our legacy media are often some of democracy's biggest betrayers. And so, again, Lisa, welcome. We invite you to watch on twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment, where there is less of a delay and more play. I don't know. I guess there's more play over there. That's what people are saying. So, analysis: Donald Trump's corruption is breathtaking, but Democrats don't have a leg to stand on because 9 years ago it was revealed that their presidential nominee had used a private email server 13 years ago. Now, that's funny. And when you need to explain a joke, that's when it's really funny. But I'll just explain it anyway. Obviously, some of you get it. But the reality is that Condoleezza Rice and Colin Powell, heroes of the, neocon world, they also used a private email server. It was basically something everyone had done, but then our mainstream media, who takes its marching orders largely from the right-wing propaganda complex that was created by billionaires to warp our minds, they just carry the water for that ecosystem, and so they made it a huge deal, and now we have the second Trump administration, which is ushering in fascism. Yes, and okay. New York Times PitchBot continues. Who are the good guys in the Declaration of Independence? These Federalist Society judges say King George of the British Army. Now, that's funny. And if you can explain why, we'd love for you to do that in the chat. So, speaking of the failing New York Times, failing democracy, there's also sometimes great stuff. We sometimes talk about how it's an almost a bipolar situation where they would have fact-based scholars of the Constitution, like Steve Vladeck. They would have an opinion piece from him, and then they would write an opinion piece from someone like Pamela Paul, whose credentials are just that she previously worked in the New York Times Book Review. And then they would have her, even though she's not an expert at all, write about trans health care. And then she would pass on the propaganda of, anti-trans health organizations that are created to appear as though they care about trans health, but then they really push things like conversion therapy and things like that. And that is the part of how the New York Times fails democracy, because guess what? Trans people are citizens in a democracy, and even though they are such a small percentage of our population, it doesn't make any sense for journalism to be aiding in the scapegoating of them. Yes, and. So here we go. Nick Turse. Okay, I don't know who Nick Turse is. Oh, he works for The Intercept. Okay, I guess I knew that. But so Trump is building a global gulag for immigrants captured by ICE. And another thing about this is that you can just go to the Blue Sky account, and then that's where you can find this stuff to be fact warriors and share it across the internet. So the idea is, everybody who's watching, especially Jeff and Mickey and Lisa. Mickey, you're so fine. The idea is that you are a fact warrior. Why? Because we have fascism in America because we all stopped caring about each other's media diets. And so therefore, every single time we are online, we must spread fact-based information that uplifts democracy. And that afflicts the comfortable, yes, and because we need to flood the zone with shit. We need to flood the zone with facts. Holy crap, Atoli Khomeini. Because this guy's flooding the zone with shit all the time. In fact, you may have had your zone flooded with shit by this gentleman today, yesterday, anytime you pick up your intimate partner, your phone, your best friend, your phone, the person who tells you everything about the world, your phone. Where do you find out about the world? Through your phone. And who's on the other side of your phone at all times? Well, it's the giant dickheads who are so afraid themselves, fear-based little boys, Oh, we're losing viewers. We're losing viewers. Hell yeah. Who's that saying that? Madison says, I have a zone shit blocker installed. Well, could you hip us all to that, Madison? Because we need that as well. Now, let's keep going through the news. Rev Deuce thinks that he's basically going to just reprise this program when he goes over to TikTok, and that's okay. So Trump is building a global gulag for immigrants captured by ICE. The U.S. is in talks with 19 nations, including Libya, Kosovo, Rwanda. You know, I watch a lot of soccer. They advertise visit Rwanda. So tourism is booming in Rwanda. Hotel Rwanda is back open for business. I've never seen the movie, and I know very little about the conflict, and that was probably horrifically disgusting joke I just made. So Moldova to accept deportees from other countries. Trump is building a global gulag. The U.S. has reportedly sought or struck deals with 20 countries, including those the State Department has cited for human rights abuses. Do you understand what's happening in your country? Go and share this with everyone so that they can understand what's happening in their country. Reminiscent of portraits of leaders hanging from public buildings, often seen in dictatorships, monarchies, and in descriptions in George Orwell's 1984 of Big Brother, deeply creepy, enormous, brooding banner of Trump now hangs next to Lincoln outside of the Department of Agriculture. When they say next to Lincoln, I guess they mean that Lincoln Memorial is nearby. But here we go. Look at this. This isn't some play at the Metropolitan Opera Theater about Donald Trump and they are advertising it. No, this is literally a Dear Leader poster hanging in our nation's capital as we increasingly become North Korea every single day. Yes, and get in here. We've got 5 viewers. You know what Rev Deuce wants to do? Rev Deuce wants to, and you're going to find out because he's going to tell you. There's like a feature where I can, I have to have 30,000 things open, and I'm so grateful for my cousin who told me what kind of computer to get. But like when in the middle of live streaming, if you could only see, it looks like I'm doing high stakes day trading. It's friggin' wild. Now, what is this live? How do we check in on the live? That's cool. But how do we see who's in here? Oh my God, it's a nightmare. I don't even know what I'm looking at, and it makes me scared. 3 viewers. We've got up to 44 followers. Nobody cares about this, Deuce. What are you doing? You're ruining the time for everyone. Alerts. I guess I got to set up alerts so that people all get excited like with me. I don't know. It all seems so stupid to make it into a casino. David says, they think that the photo on the banner is his best photo? Yeah, I mean, that's also hilarious, right? It's almost his mugshot photo. Anyway, did you know that it is Endangered Species Day today? We will be coming back to this a couple times and the things that I shared from our account on Blue Sky. Get on Blue Sky, get off Twitter. Every single second that you are on Twitter, you are supporting the spread of misogyny, disinformation, hate, cruelty, slurs, bigotry. I mean, we can go check in. I'll show you right now. Okay? Look, this is a moving program. And so if you want to know what's on Twitter, okay, are you kidding my friggin' daddy? Look at my notifications. That's his official portrait. That's scary. Someone named Matt Wallace saying this image of Gretchen Whitmer is going viral as more people start to notice. What does this even mean? 8645. This image is going viral as people start to notice. This is a funny comment. The only thing I'm noticing is how big of a bitch the right wing has become. But we're going to actually get into this idea about 86. Oh, this is funny. This is disinformation. Okay, 86 means to unalive and to execute judicially. Oh, this is fascinating. I want to kind of keep this up. Oh my God. Whoa, they're making a lot of hay about this. Now, 86 is a kitchen term. And they are trying to, I mean, it's not true that you would say it's just like a way to make it with numbers. Remove it from availability, often used in restaurants to indicate that a menu is sold out of a menu of an item. It just means to get rid of someone. It just means that they're no longer available or welcome. It doesn't mean in a restaurant sense, you wouldn't say, "Hey, we 86 chicken," and then that would imply to someone that someone's in the back, cutting the throats of all the chickens. That's not it. That would mean you'd have more chickens. 86 chicken means, hey, we're out of chicken. Tell your table that they can't order the chicken. So 8645 would just mean, hey, we've run out of patience for Donald Trump. Tell America that we no longer have him available to destroy our country, which means that we've impeached him, or something similarly. There is no implication whatsoever of violence in that term. But so this is what you're doing when you are using Twitter. You are supporting this kind of outrageous. And now, who is this knucklehead? Let's Make America Great Again. MAGA, Twitter, Cuban American, FJB, turn on notifications. This seems like a well-adjusted person who's devoted their entire life to, if they're real, how do we know? There used to be some kind of bot checker. Anyway, Rev Deuce is getting far afield, but it's important. This is how we explore our information ecosystem every moment of every single friggin' day. Yes, and. So get off of Twitter, please, right now. Yes, and please, thank you. So happy Endangered Species Day today. Donald Trump's second term will be bad news for endangered ocean and coastal animals. All right, so let everybody know about that. Be a fact warrior. Go to our Blue Sky, copy these links, share them on all of your social media. Take screenshots. Be the media. That's what you have to do at this time if you give more than one solid poo-poo about your world. If you have children and you care about them, if you have lungs and you care about them, if you have a body that is currently cancer-free and you want it to remain that way for as long as possible, about them. If you have anything that you care about, you're going to be a fact warrior every single second of every single day, because the reason we have fascism in America, I agree it's confusing, knee blockable. The thing about it with the 86 thing is that it's like such a minor thing. Like it doesn't matter, right? If anything, it's an indictment of if the Gretchen Whitmer thing is real, which I don't know that it is. The James Comey thing is real. He did draw on the sand with shells 8647. Or someone else did and he saw it on his beach walk. But so I'm doing this thing where I'm lowering my Adam's apple. Watch, do you see this? And you hold it down there. I learned that from a vocal coach because it's been really tearing up my voice to be doing all this, in an accent, of course, as well. Anyway, so, and then also you just have free speech, and 86 doesn't mean to kill someone. But it's an indictment of people like James Comey, where it's like, what a dork. He couldn't stand up for democracy when it mattered most. He altered the course of American and global history by allowing for a BS, by basically going to the press days before an election to affect its outcome. And now we have fascism in America. Thank you, James Comey. And the way you fight back is to just show pictures of the most confusing and softest messages possible. Why don't you take to the streets, you butthead? Thank you, yes, and. And if you're not taking to the streets, what are you doing to save America? Are you sharing fact-based information every single time you're online? Yes, and. Okay, really interesting move here that could put in a bind these big law firms that bent the knee. Now, we like to push back on the narrative that the only viable opposition party to this fascism currently, before we might have a hot conflict that would lead to the deaths of untold numbers of Americans, which nobody wants. This is the kind of way you can't talk on TikTok, that you really get the hard, solid stuff. But so this is in a specific state? Fascinating. So this is not in Congress. And, of course, Politico is a right-wing newsletter. Oh, look at this. Declined to sign onto Assembly resolution recognizing Israel as the 77th. Oh, this is funny. This is Politico, but they're doing local mayor stuff. Oh, this is New York Playbook. Okay. I'll tell you how I'm going to vote. I'm going to vote for Mamdani. Where's the friggin' thing? Oh, my God. This is so stupid. We don't like this. We're just going to go by this. So this is in New York. So this is a New York law that is being published or raised up, which is they'll unveil legislation that would not count legal work done as a result of an agreement with the Trump administration toward required pro bono hours. The message is meant to undermine the deals big law firms have struck with the Trump administration in order to avoid being punished by executive orders. So when people say the Democratic Party, they're often talking about federally. There's also the reality that China, Iran, Putin, and of course the right-wing manipulation machine ecosystem of media in America are all trying to undermine faith in institutions and especially political parties. But you see, the reality is that all across the country, politicians of any party are actually doing things to try to improve people's lives. And so we need to lift up those politicians. And so these two politicians in New York State are trying to do something. And they just so happen to be Democrats. And so, the reality is that we need government. There's no such, I don't know what the libertarian fantasy would be, but you can't have a country of 330 million people and have no government or services. We're trying to find out if that's true, I guess. So thank you so much, Donald Trump, for your efforts to destroy America. So citizens impeachment, this is something I thought I would let everybody know about. This is something that you can be involved in if you're like, where can I put my energy to? I think you should put your energy towards being a fact warrior, but you can add to that tool belt. You can add to that kit, followed by Rebecca Solnit, who is a great journalist. It's true a conviction in an impeachment trial requires a 2/3 vote. Sounds hopeless. Well, guess what? Take action. Call your members of Congress is what this message says. Call your members of Congress. There's no people. There's all this dumb stuff in mainstream legacy media that's like, there's no point. And there's a lot of politicians on the left who are saying there's no point to trying to impeach him. It wouldn't happen. Well, guess what? You are all familiar with the phrase, we don't get things unless we ask them. Blockable dropping some hardcore messaging into the chat. The messaging is the system is broken and the technocrats and billionaires are the only ones that can fix it, which every good lie is based on a half-truth. Interesting. You mean folks like this guy? Like the billionaires who are carving out exceptions to attack Americans in the means of communication. They're literally tuning the means of communication to have us attacking each other and allowing for us to call people mentally ill who are just human beings who exist and have always existed. These are the ones who will save us, apparently, according to our mainstream press. So let's keep going through the news with Deuce. And, of course, you go to our account on Blue Sky, and then you retweet all of this stuff. You take it and you move it onto, you take a screenshot, you post it to your Facebook. You take a screenshot, you post it to your Facebook with a link to the article. You become a member of the media. You become media yourself. You get those accounts that repost stuff. That's you. Now, it's an information war. They're coming for your brains, okay? Do we have anybody new people in the house? Because our friends and loved ones who are used to the program are going to see this for the 9 millionth time. And just a reminder, this program is brought to you by Grass Milk. Grass milk sore. Who's calling me? I do not know. Probably my car insurance. Okay, I wish you would call into the show, people. And it doesn't, David, you could certainly call into the show, but we'd love for new people to call into the show, talk about any of the topics that we're talking about. I don't know how to make this a call-in show. It's not worked. Nobody calls into this show besides you, David. And that's great. We love you, David. But, it's like, I put it on the screen. Anyway. Let's get back into the news with Deuce. We are finding out about the world, and of course, you can find out about the world quickly and easily by going to our publicenlightenment.com, at publicenlightenment.com profile account on Blue Sky. Get on Blue Sky, get off Twitter. We just told everyone about that. And then you can use these lists to get all the context you need for the news and the world in just 20 minutes every single day. How amazing. So right now there's a lot of stuff going on with the birthright citizenship. Okay. Is this real? Oh my God. Sherilyn Ifill talking about, so sometimes our constitutional scholars write about dumb stuff, so I can't change, and they post their dogs. But look, Sherilyn Ifill, civil rights attorney, is telling you about the Dred Scott case and its contextualization of the 14th Amendment. Senator Whitehouse is talking about the GOP attacks on judges, which are so wildly unbelievable. If you are here in the Substack, besides Jason, who is constantly hitting the heart button, let me know. Tell me that you also are hitting the heart button. This is another person talking about the birthright citizenship case. This is another person talking about the birthright citizen case. So you have all the resources you need to understand what's going on. You can check in with political scientists. We cannot control how much any of these people write about their babies or their dogs, but you can quickly go through. I guess Tim Snyder loves Obama, which frankly to me is weird, but that's okay. Brendan Nyhan checking in on the Saudi trip of corruption. Brendan Nyhan checking in on FEMA. They don't yet have a plan for hurricane season. Okay, cool. Coup consequences right there. We're going to actually repost that so that you can share that with people. If you live in an area, if you live in North Carolina, if that was ravaged by Hurricane Helene or any of the other areas that were so ravaged, if you live in anywhere that is affected by hurricanes, go share this with your MAGA friends and loved ones. I mean, it's from the Wall Street Journal. It's from a right-wing outlet. I don't know. You can give it a shot because we need to do everything we can in this time. Yes, and. Okay, so let's go back to reading the news with Deuce. Oh no, what happened? We totally shit the bed. It's okay that, oh no, oh gosh, by golly. Oh, holly jolly Christmas this year. Okay. So sorry, I loathe Dead Space. Okay, this is a big one. Okay, you ready for a big one? Where did this come from? Did I pass over this? Fascinating. Posts. Okay, everybody, check this out. Oh, knee blockable. If Trump is impeached, it wouldn't be the same. Yes, JD is a ghoul who's doing the best he can with what he has, but what he has is a need to dominate and control and ruin the lives of people by lying. And so we need to get him out of the halls of power. But the thing is that J.D. Vance is not the cult leader. And so it would be a new, fresh dynamic where they would be trying to push him as the cult leader, and it would be very fascinating to see. Obviously, you would see the entirety of the right-wing disinformation ecosystem get on board immediately with J.D. Vance. But it would also reveal some fissures in the unholy coalition between the right-wing Christian nationalist billionaires and the right-wing techno-fascist billionaires. Obviously, J.D. Vance is the techno-fascists guy, and then the Christian nationalists would probably support J.D. Vance, but then you'd see all kinds of crazy stuff happen. So here we go. This is something that is amazing, and I need you all to share. This is one where Rev Deuce really wants you to share it. Of course, you should be a fact warrior about all these things. FEMA not having a hurricane plan, tell everybody. But this is a letter to the editor from a high school track runner who came in second to a trans girl in a race. And it totally flips the narrative. It totally flips their disgusting scapegoating agenda that is created in right-wing think tanks where they plot and plan how they can create division and violence in America. I do not know what is horrific because you are a Floridian, but here we go. So this is a letter to the editor, and let's read this letter right now. Rep. Laurel Libby R. Auburn. This is in Maine. Oh, yeah. I see. I understand about the hurricanes. Recently used my second place finish in the 1,600 meter run and that of my teammate in the 800 meter run to malign Soren Stark Chessa, the trans-identified athlete who finished first. One of the reasons I chose to run cross country and track in this is the community. Teammates cheering each other on, athletes from different schools coming together, and the fact that personal improvement is valued as much as, if not more than, the place we finish. Last Friday, I ran the fastest 1,600 meter race I have ever run in middle school or high school, and it earned me varsity status at my school. I am extremely proud of the effort I put into the race and the time that I achieved. The fact that someone else finished in front of me didn't diminish the happiness I felt after finishing that race. I don't feel like first place was taken from me. Instead, I feel like a happy day was turned ugly by a bully who is using children to make political points. Yes, and what a beautiful reframing of this hateful message. That because, you know, like 7 kids who happen to be trans are competing against your daughter, that your life is ruined and you have to become a national story. I mean, where is the coverage of everyone who has suffered injustice in our criminal justice system? Why is our mainstream media focusing on where the right-wing media directs their gaze when the reality is that maybe 8 girls who play volleyball in different states across the country are weak snowflakes? Look, I'll appropriate the language and use it against them. Sorry, MAGA, we love you, but come on now. What about the 200 plus million prisoners in this country, most of whom are not violent offenders, who are rotting in jails, the most caged population on the planet? What about that? If we're talking about injustices. And so this young person is saying that they think that a happy day was turned ugly by a bully who is using children to make political points. And we think that is so beautiful of a message that reframes this nonsense, this hatred, this bigotry, this cruelty, this domination and persecution, which is what fascism is, the unholy marriage of corporate and state power, girded by a structure of persecution, bigotry, and violence. So Annalise Feldman said, and she's a freshman. Now that's incredible. This is like a 14-year-old girl who's stronger and braver mentally than the adults who are, well, the adults who are pushing this are just, you know, basically have low moral integrity and know exactly what they're doing, and that's horrible. But stronger and braver than the people who fall for it. Sorry, MAGA, but it's true. We are all just kids trying to make our way through high school. Participating in sports is the highlight of high school for some kids. No one was harmed by Soren's participation in the girls' track meet, but we are also, this isn't some politician who's trying to scapegoat. This is someone who actually was the quote-unquote victim, according to them, who is just saying out loud no one was harmed. So we need to boost this kind of thing everywhere. In the girls' track meet, but we are all harmed by the hateful rhetoric of bullies like Rep. Libby who want to take sports away from some kids just because of who they are. So this is something that you need to share everywhere today, tomorrow, and really the next day. I'm going to try to find ways to post it everywhere all the time, forever, for always. And so I will post this one into the Like, what the hell, man? Talking about our basic freedoms,
everywhere,
man.
all the time.
See, it's so annoying to go and drop these into the Substack, which is why, even though we love you on Substack, because this always happens, we can't control that. We want you to go over to twitch.tv/Public Enlightenment and watch from there. Yes, and thank you so much. And give us a follow over there. Support us however you can because you believe deeply in this program and you love what RevDeuce is doing. Yes, and. So you can go and share that by just going to Blue Sky, but we will help everybody out here. So this person has an interesting thing going on. They are pointing out when we talk about coup consequences, which we talk about all the time here, we are in the middle of a coup. Don't get it twisted. Tell your friends and neighbors. Donald Trump is burning America's cash while the bald eagle bleeds out and children are put in chains. So you must be a fact warrior like this fake lady from AI. And care about everyone's media diets, so America walks around, instead of flabby buns, we have information tight buns. Can you drop the Twitch link in their chat? Yeah, I could do that. I don't think... I've said this every single day, and so I don't think Jason's going anywhere. And let's be real, it's bathrobe guy and Jason over there. And we love them. All right. Do you really want me to do that? Okay. I mean, I say it out loud. And they have fingers and toes. Some people type with their toes. Some people eat couches. Did you all know that? Isn't that? I mean, look, everybody's doing the best they can with what they have, and some people have an outsized desire to eat couch materials. Did you ever see that? Talk about entertaining ourselves to death. Did you ever see that TV show where they had the lady, she was eating the couch slowly over time? What in the world is going on? What a world. Okay, so this person is saying that they are a scientist and they have NSF and NIH grants that were terminated. They're compiling a list. And so you can go here and you can see. So let's go NIH, for instance, right? This is a tracker that this person has called Grant Watch. Okay? And this is the kind of thing you do in a fascist society, is you try to hold on to information. So this is the form where I'm not a member of the NIH and I'm not a member of the other thing, but I guess you can go to the main, you can go to the main thing here, and this is all of the things that have been, all of the contracts that have been canceled. Public drinking water, Alzheimer's disease, post-traumatic stress syndrome, Alzheimer's, chlamydia. The GOP is pro-chlamydia. Okay, that's a video idea. Did you know the GOP is pro-chlamydia? That's the next one coming down the pike from RevDeuce. Well, I mean, I'm trying to do everything I can. I mean, I should do more videos about our information ecosystem. That is my whole deal. But, like, we got to it's all hands on deck. Pro-chlamydia song idea? Yeah, I hear you. I got to sing at a wedding this weekend. And then we're rehearsing tomorrow, which is so terrible. It's a Sunday wedding. And so I'm trying to do everything I can to preserve my voice, which is why I'm lowering my thing. But so we want you to be aware of this Grant Watch, and we want you to send that to your MAGA friends and loved ones. Are you a fact warrior or what? What else are you doing here? Only fact warriors allowed. No non-fact warriors allowed. This is our fort. We made it. No non-fact warriors allowed. When I was 5, I made the Cheetah Club with my friends. We built it in a honeysuckle bush. We hung a sign that said "No girls allowed" because we were boys in the 1980s, and that's what you were told. I love girls. I love adult women. And girls are cool too. But I grew up to like girls is what I'm saying. Thank you so much. Okay, so Anna O. Law. Anna O. Law, I believe, is a Harvard professor. No, CUNY, Brooklyn College, right on. The Harvard of the East. So anyway, she wrote this thread that is going all around, so you can Interesting, Madison. The Cheetah Girls. Okay, that sounds like a fun. So check this out, everybody. This is the thread. I told you to share the transgender reframing of the trans panic, right? From the 14-year-old girl who's braver than every single MAGA politician. But here we go, and many Democratic politicians. But Anna Olah is an expert specifically on birthright citizenship. She's been studying it for the last 16 years. She's written books about the 14th Amendment, okay? So everyone is talking up this thread. Everyone in legal blue sky is talking up this thread. So we're just going to go through it, and it's what you can store away and you can rely on and you can post, and it'll always be here in our timeline, but for goodness sake, be a fact warrior. So the framers of the 14th Amendment chose all persons to include free black people whose legal citizenship status was unclear before the birthright citizenship clause. That vagueness meant states discriminated against them. The birthright clause was also to address the unauthorized, I think, migration of the time. I don't know what, I think that's a typo. The U.S. Constitution doesn't explicitly mention slavery except for euphemisms, such persons, for example, and structural benefits for slave states. What exactly, right? So when they had like the 3/5 compromise and all of those things, right? So what exactly were the contents of U.S. citizenship is also not spelled out. But the Fed Naturalization Act of 1790 limited naturalization to all free white persons. 1790, okay? Without formal citizenship, even for those born in the U.S., free black people suffered much discrimination. With slave and free states existing in the same country, some free states treated free black men with property as state citizens, giving them full voting and jury duty rights, and many other states gave free black people no rights. There were huge variations in how states treated free black people. Also, the questions of whether U.S. citizenship was above state citizenship, if the two conflicted, and where free black people, U.S. citizens enabled, and were free black people, U.S. citizens enabled state discrimination, against free black people in their international and interstate travel. So the main point, you could be discriminated against without there being some law saying that you were a citizen, and there was still not a law saying that you were a citizen or an act of the Supreme Court through jurisprudence. States took advantage of the free black people's lack of citizenship and set legal disabilities and administrative burdens on their mobility and attempts to stay and set roots where they wanted. Right? There was no freedom in this sense. In the 1850s, the American Colonization Society reached its peak support among elite politicians and the public. This organization worked with federal and state governments to charter ships to repatriate free black people to Africa. So this is another thing that was going on at the time, the repatriation movement, but it was a movement that was not, it wasn't Marcus Garvey. I don't know I don't know where history falls. I think that there were some black people who liked what Marcus Garvey was doing. There were some black people who did not. I am not going to speak for all black people throughout American history. But what we're saying here is that this organization, the American Colonization Society, I don't know if this was progressive. Does she mention it here? Because this scared free black people at the time. It was racism. So free black people worried whether this removal was going to be consensual. They might be repatriated even if they were born and raised in the U.S. How do you repatriate someone born and raised in the U.S. to a Caribbean or African country, South American country that is not their country? That was the situation before the 14th Amendment, that their international and interstate mobility was restricted by states and they feared forced deportation. Okay? Then SCOTUS issued the infamous Dred Scott decision in 1857. The Dred Scott decision hastened the Civil War. It said that neither free nor enslaved black Americans could be citizens. So that's how you helpfully remember that the Dred Scott case was bad, because it has the word dread in it. After the Reconstruction Amendments, only then did all black people stop worrying about being forcibly deported and their interstate mobility and settlement restricted, although I'm sure they didn't stop worrying. That's a little bit of a stretch from Anna Olah, but that's okay, because then Jim Crow quickly set in, right? The 14th Amendment clause saying all persons encompassed all black Americans. It also encompassed all European immigrants so that they would not have children who were stateless. It also encompassed, where's the Asian part? Oh, it also included children born to people smuggled into the U.S. Where does she talk about the Asian part? Maybe somewhere else. Someone else talked about it in what I was retweeting. Because, now, of course, there's this law, there's this court case from the 1897, I believe, that was specifically a Chinese child, a child born to Chinese parents in America who were not naturalized citizens. And that's what's being argued by the GOP, that law should not, that act of the Supreme Court should not have happened. And Native Americans were left outside the coverage of birthright citizenship out of deference to their membership in their native nations. Oh, here we go. The children born to reviled Chinese immigrants, which they were at the time, were included even as their immigrant parents remained ineligible. So this truly, it didn't matter how racist you wanted to be. It didn't matter how much you thought it was unfair. The 14th Amendment made everyone, all persons, afforded birthright citizenship. And that is a little bit of the context and history of why. Okay. Now, this is going back to this this thing we saw, this piece of disinformation that we saw on Twitter. So get off Twitter. You're supporting disinformation. You are literally supporting the polluting of your fellow Americans' minds every single second you're on Twitter. It's not like Amazon Prime. Okay, look, I could understand Amazon Prime, right? I could understand Amazon Prime. It's convenient. There's nothing really convenient about Twitter unless you literally can't live without the idea of seeing some random, right-wing comedian's tweets. Like, what is the value on Twitter? I would say the reality that Twitter is now a dump of disinformation and hate that is destroying the minds of your fellow Americans and stewing them in toxic disinformation and hate. I think get the hell off of Twitter, okay, and get onto Blue Sky. And so over here, hey, Rose. I mean, is it Tony or is it Rose? Are you a pink Tony or are you a Tony Rose? Thank you so much. We're having fun. Knee Blockable says how Liberia was formed. Liberia was formed by the United States government. And Sierra Leone was what? I'm not up on my, it's not top of mind for me. So the full weight of the government is coming for James Comey, who posted this. He said, remove him from the menu because he's no longer available, which is what 86 means in American restaurant kitchen language. 8647, and now Kash Patel, the replacement for James Comey, with that other guy in between, that Federalist Society member, is coming after the free speech of the former FBI director. Okay, do you understand we're in fascism? Thank you. We're still going through the news with Deuce, and we're about to hop over to TikTok. Tick-tock of the clock is painful. Rev Deuce sang karaoke last night. He sang 3 songs. He sang Mona Lisa's and Mad Hatters by Elton John. He sang Chains of Love. That's for Erasure Head over on our TikTok stream. And he sang, what else did I sing? Third person is so funny. What else did I sing? I sang... Oh, Our Lady Peace. Does everybody remember that one? Our Lady Peace. Superman's Dead from the 90s. I used to drive around northern New Jersey singing that song, singing my heart out. Again, it is Endangered Species Day. How will you get involved? You can get involved by going to mcsuk.org, and you can help recover the oceans. We've got a call coming into the program. We're going to take it because we are improvisers who deal with the energy that is in our space, and you are all improvisers in the stage of life. Yes, and Welcome to the program. You are on the phone with Rev Deuce. Rev Deuce loves you, and you are a beautiful being of light. I've got your back.
That's wonderful to hear. This is Papa.
Hey, Papa, welcome to the program. We're celebrating Endangered Species Day, which is an oxymoron, but we're doing that right now currently on the program. Papa, what did you call in to talk about today? Now, Papa, for everyone in the audience, he is the patriarch of many of our adherents in the Mega Tub of Joy, the Mega Church of Joy, and he is a man of Christ, and he likes to sit on the porch with his progeny, with his, well, no, what is it? With his posterity. No, what do they say?
Yeah.
Anyway, so, Papa, welcome to the program. What do you have to say today?
Oh, well, I had heard that you mentioned me the other day on your program, but we don't need to get into that. Let's continue on with your topic on endangered species. I have some opinions on them.
Okay, what are your opinions on endangered species?
Well, it depends upon the species itself, actually. I believe that things like, oh, save the whales, is kind of not such a great thing to charge after. I'm more like, oh, save the krill.
Well,
save the
exactly.
krill,
Now,
plenty of whales.
See, Papa, this is so interesting because then it becomes a question of like what's effective messaging, right? Because I believe that if you do want to save the whales, that in like under the scope of saving the whales would be efforts to save the krill because the krill is what feeds the whales, right?
Yes, sir.
So I think, I mean, when we're talking about saving our oceans, I feel personally, and I love your idea and I love your thoughts, but I personally love the idea of like just all hands on deck, right? Like save the, like what's the grossest thing in the ocean? Whatever that is, save that too, you know?
Sea urchin.
Save the sea urchin. Well, sea urchin are delicious now. I think epicures who have the money to buy sea urchin regularly, they're going to help out with that one because they like to eat it.
Yes. Obviously, you've never had one in your field. So.
Oh my gosh! Wait! You have gone out into the Florida. Is that where sea urchin are? There's some sea urchin off the coast of the southern East Coast in in America.
I was in Panama.
Oh my God! Well, that's horrible. You stepped on a sea urchin?
Yeah, sure it is. And they're very much like porcupine quills. They're hollow and they're barbed. So if you try to grab them and extract them, they just shatter because they're hollow and they're brittle. And if you mess with them, they just keep working their way in deeper and deeper and deeper.
Oh my God, Papa, that's
They're
horrible.
One-way thing. Yeah, it's bad thing.
Did it end your soccer career?
Yes, did it end my soccer career? No, sir. I think I was maybe 4 years old.
4 years old in Panama. That sounds like an interesting life.
Yeah, it was. I was like, you remember the old show Tarzan? I was like Boy. It was literally lush jungle all around us. We lived in a naval base called Cocosolo. And my father was the head of the Harbor Defense Unit. The base was actually closing down, and half of it was already given to the Panamanians, all the enlisted men's quarters and stuff. So we actually lived in officers' quarters on the base the whole time we were there. Yeah, it was absolutely fabulous. My bedroom window opened up to French doors that opened up onto probably a 10-foot deep patio that was the whole length of the apartment and overlooked the Bay of Cologne. And at night I could lay in bed and see the lights of the city of Cologne across the bay. It was absolutely fabulous. And we lived on the upper story. We lived in the units were actually fourplexes, and we lived in our unit was H4. It was the top left one when you looked at it from the walkway out front. and they were built up so that everyone parked underneath them. And there was no windows. There were just screens and blinds that rolled down, when like bamboo blinds.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it was pretty nice. There was no heating or air conditioning. Everything, it was always like in the high 70s, low 80s. It seemed like there was a wet season and a dry season. There weren't, 4 seasons. It was just a wet season and a dry season. The wet season, the crabs came out, zillions and zillions of crabs. They paved the streets with crabs trying to come from the interior into the coast, going across the road. There's just literally millions and millions of them, and drivers are just fucking crushing. It was a crazy time. Every year that happened.
Incredible.
Well, anyway, I'm just rambling on here. What? Oh, we're back to endangered species. I'm one of them, so I say let's save the old guys.
I say let's save the old guys as well. Some of your family are pointing out that you are a walking time capsule. Papa, we love you, and we love to hear you and talk to you. We do need to move on a little bit with the program, but do you have anything else you want to say about media or democracy in this moment? And I hate to do this, but let's keep it to like a minute. You got the floor.
I'm good. I think I've taken up enough of your time so far. Just may God bless you and keep things going. I'll be signing off. I've got to take off. I got errands to run.
Well, enjoy those errands, and I hope that those sea urchin injured feet carry you throughout your day with grace and beauty, and you suffer no pain. And I'm so grateful to speak to you anytime. Call into the program anytime, and we always love to hear what you have to say. So have a good day with your errands, and stay wonderful.
All right. God bless you. Take care.
Okay, bless you. Goodbye. Well, so that was Papa. Do I take voicemails? Do I take voicemails? I don't even know what that means. But okay. I don't know if I even have a voicemail set up. All right, we are going to get over to TikTok in just a moment or two. Let me just see if there's any top of mind. Yeah, so here's another one. Again, go to our Blue Sky account. Again, get off Twitter. We've been talking about that. Go to Blue Sky. Go to publicenlightenment.com at Blue Sky, where you can find all of the pieces of information that we have spoken about today. And then you can be a fact warrior, and you can repost, no matter what it is, whether it's the stuff that we have or whatever it is. Whenever you find a piece of persuasive, fact-based, pro-democracy information on the internet, guess what you have to do? You have to share it. Because we are in an information war, and so the global authoritarians and the oligarchs, they have all of the power. They have all of the armaments, but we have manpower. We have human power, and so we need to flood the zone with facts in the face of the giant fear-based dickheads who are flooding the zone with shit. So how will you be a fact warrior today? Yes, and we love you. How will you love others? And so we just want to, because we are so deeply in love with fact-based information, we just want to get a little bit more of it out to you all. So go check this out. And again, we have so many resources for you over here on Blue Sky. We've got fact checkers, diverse opinion, historians, legal experts, the news. These are all fact-based pro-democracy individuals vetted by me, Rev Deuce, your information nutritionist. So go push back. Just go into the fact checkers and just retweet that stuff. Take screenshots and share it on your social media. We need to push back against the program, the strategy of disinformation that is at us at all times and is destroying our society. Yes, and honk if you agree. Now, hold on. Oh, poop on a stick. What happened? We've got to go. Poop on a stick is sold to you by Certified Poop Dealer. Sorry, that's a reference to our time on TikTok. Now, let me just go really quick. We've really covered some really great information, and we got it all on Blue Sky. So a good morning read about birthright citizenship from the perspective of the great-grandson of Wong Kim Ark, the plaintiff whose case in 1898 affirmed the birthright citizenship is guaranteed to the children of undocumented migrants born in the U.S. So again, good journalism still coming out of places like the Washington Post, but we still feel like you should end your subscription to the Washington Post and invest it in a ProPublica or an Intercept, the truly pro-democracy outlets that are out there. Shoving 5,000 enlisted into random office buildings for days at a time in the middle of the D.C. summer, all to have a parade in honor of a weird wannabe dictator. Yes, I guess this really is going to happen, or they are trying to move forward with it. This like $45 million to the taxpayer cost of a military parade. So we could look into that more, but I just, it kind of grinds my gears. This is just to point out that journalists are the real exposers of fraud, waste, and corruption. Elon Musk is a fear-based dickhead who is destroying the world and the planet. And he's claiming to be the person who gets rid of fraud, waste, and abuse, in league with his buddy who attacks the real people who do that, which are the journalists who are the immune system of democracy. So last year, my journalism stopped the illegal sale of millions of Americans' driving behavior to the insurance risk industry. So that's the kind of thing that journalism does behind the scenes or in front of the scenes, but we don't see it all the time. We see the shitty journalism. More often than not, we see the sensationalism. And so this is just to point out the reality that there is great journalism happening at all times that protects us from corporations, protects us from giant billionaire dickheads. David pointing out that Donald Trump won't go to the tarmac to accept the remains of fallen service members. And unprecedented cuts to the National Science Foundation endanger research that improves economic growth. Go share that right now. Are you having an open tab of our public enlightenment Blue Sky? That's what you should do. That's how you be a fact warrior during the program. RFK Jr. said he didn't fire working scientists, except that he did. This is to point out that people like to say that the Huffington Post is left news. Okay, sure, maybe their frames are left, but they are fact-based and they are reporting in a pro-democracy way about the things, the lies being told by members of our administration, the executive branch of government. Okay? So when we talk about our information ecosystem and someone might write off the Huffington Post for whatever reason, sure, it has a bias. Everything has a bias. So we just want to support institutions and articles and journalists who have a bias towards democracy and facts. And then from Reuters, food rations that could supply 3.5 million people for a month are moldering, what a word, in warehouses around the world because of the U.S. aid cuts and risks becoming unusable. Now, the other thing I want to show you, because you can go and do all of this stuff, no problem, Boblem, thank you. That's a word. Sorry, let me just find this thing and bring it from where I am to where you are. Boom, I did.
So Donald Trump has announced plans to build 10 weird new cities all over the country. They're called Freedom Cities, but that's like something out of George Orwell's 1984. These are zones where corporations will have all the power and the usual rules of democracy.
So Gil Duran is someone that you should all follow. I've recently come to understand that he's making videos, so you should go follow him. Tell him in the comments that you got there from Public Enlightenment. That is another way to boost Public Enlightenment, is to run and tell people about Public Enlightenment and what we are doing here and how we are helping people find and discover fact-based individuals who are spreading persuasive information. Now, Gil Duran is so funny when he comes. He's a framing expert. He is a journalist. He used to produce a show with George Lakoff, who is a framing expert. But listen to this music.
Democracy won't apply. Corporate dystopias designed to destroy democracy and give tech billionaires
And then who created these in Canva?
even more power than they already have. The idea for these cities is
Nice keyframe zoom. Anyway, so Gil is doing great work. There's another piece that came up right after this. Why he quit this is with an interview with a woman about why she quit the LA Times editorial board. And that's fascinating because we don't hear from journalists. We just hear from the giant dickhead fascist dictators who want to destroy journalism because it it is something that helps to stop their program, and so they want it destroyed. And so, yes, Jason is pointing out that that's what Curtis Yarvin wants. And so what we are telling all of you is to go and share. Sorry, I'm adjusting my microphone. Share Gil Duran's stuff. Share his account. Tell Gil Duran that Rev Deuce sent you. You know what I mean? Because we need to help Rev Deuce grow, and Rev Deuce is caring about your info. Rev Deuce is an information nutritionist, yes, and. So check that out, everybody. We're so grateful to have you in the program today. Are you telling your boomer parents and loved ones who are retired about this show? Are you telling your MAGA loved ones about this show? Are you telling everybody about this show? Do you have 5,000 emails of people? Send this show to every single one of them. Of course, you can go to publicenlightenment.com. I need to get better about doing this regularly.
Are you telling
Excuse
everybody
me,
about
but the past episodes are right here, Mega Church of Joy. You can also find past episodes on Twitch and on YouTube. If people start watching them, I'll get way better about making sure that they live in those spaces. But please do that. Knee Blockable is saying Teal, Musk, Mark Andreessen, etc. want freedom cities. And if you look at Yarvin's ideas, I think they got the idea from him, or he has ideas for it. Anyway, that is exactly right. And then someone named someone that sounds like a foreign casino. That is a horrible thing for me to say. It's Rev Deuce all the way down on your screen right now. Balaji Suravasian or something. I guess in my mind it sounds like the Bellagio. But Balaji Suravasian is like, I think, another tech billionaire dickhead who wrote a book about the freedom. It's called The Network State. And so these guys have extreme ideas, and we need to be exposing them. And that is a part of Gil Duran's program. So I love you, you love me. We're going to go to TikTok and see how it goes over there. Yes, and so we're going to get that started. We're going to do basically the same thing, but hopefully we're going to catch some folks who want to talk about their information diet, and it's going to be great. So we're going to go have some fun over there for about an hour, and so if you want to follow us over to TikTok, that would be incredible. TikTok public_enlightenment, I think, but it's the same logo and it's everything, and I'll be there live streaming, so you'll know that it's me live streaming. So please do that. How can you support Rev Deuce if you enjoy the news and information that I bring you every single day, and if you especially understand and support the message that we all have to be fact warriors fighting for democracy in the face of fear-based shithead fascism. Sorry. Oh, I blew that one. Okay, love you all. Have a wonderful day. How will you be a beautiful being of light today? How will you flood the zone with facts and be a fact warrior in the face of Steve Bannon, who wants to flood everyone's zone with shit at all times? How will you be a fact warrior? Reminder as well that we are constantly pushing back. We are trying to save the nation from disinformation with high-quality information. We are literally handing newspapers to MAGA people so that they can get onto the fact-based stream of information. We want to thank everyone who's been donating recently. It is so extremely, incredibly wonderful that people value what I'm doing here, and it means a lot to me. So I love you, you love me. This program is sponsored by Grass Milk, and somewhere else it is sponsored by Madison, the patron saint of grifting. Please don't forget. Oh, okay. Hold on. My friend Denny wants to call. Hold on. Wait a second. I'm telling him the phone number. This is incredible. Hold on 1 second. This is so funny. This is more for me than anyone else. Hold on, everybody. Okay, Denny cannot make it. That's so funny. Okay, sorry, everybody. What a terrible way to end the show, but also a great way to end the show. He said that he's busy now, but maybe we'll have him call in the future. Knee Blockable said, Musk built a SpaceX city. Teal has a city in the Caribbean. It's true. In Honduras. Or at least there is one in Honduras as well. They want their own Dubais like cities all over the world, and they have full control over it. Is true. And as the largest shareholder of a death company, that's terrifying that Peter Thiel would be in that position. So let's go to TikTok and tell everyone about about it? How will you be a beautiful being of light today? How will you try to listen to and agree with the ideas of others, even when they are not ideas that sit well in your body? As long as people aren't being dicks, let's try to find common ground. Yes, and arguing doesn't work on the stage or in your home. I am just stalling until I find the outro music. Goodbye. I love you. We'll see you on TikTok in 2 shakes of a little Lemmy's tail.